Six mistakes that anyone who aspires to build a sustainable financial career should desist from. Six mistakes that anyone who aspires to build a successful financial career should avoid. Hello, welcome to Financial Freedom Community, and my name is Richard Amponsah. Over here, we inspire, we inform, we educate, we share knowledge and experience as well as opportunities that can help us inch closer to a better financial position. So, if you are new here, consider subscribing to our channel and turn on your notification bell so that anytime we share content with you would receive exclusive notification to that. Then also, even as we learn from each other, I would entreat that you indicate in the comment section your thoughts about every content that we put out here so that others, including myself, can also learn from you. We are also on the various social media platforms on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, and everywhere as Financial Freedom Community. Just search for us on all the social media platforms and you get connected to us. We have a lot of content on our platform. We have the various categories. We have daily inspiration. We have self-awareness tips for success. And also we have financial education tips. So make sure that you check our channel to find the amazing content that we have made specially for you. Thank you so much and welcome to our show today. This is self-awareness tips for success, and what we're looking at today are the 6 mistakes that you should avoid if you want to build a sustainable financial career. Don't forget that our name is Financial Freedom Community and that we talk about money. We talk about how to get better in terms of finances. So let us quickly get into the topic for the day. 6 mistakes that you should avoid if you want to build a successful financial career. The first one is shortcut. Shortcut. That is one of the mistakes that if you want to build a sustainable and a formidable financial career, you should try at all costs to avoid. 1. Shortcut. Shortcuts in life as well as wealth creation has recorded a lot of losses than gains. As sweet as the name may sound, shortcut, the end is always not as pleasant as anticipated. A lot of people have lost a good substantial amount of investment and resources by virtue of adapting to shortcut methods. Shortcut is always influenced by get rich quick, greediness, and also rush. Okay, a lot of people who seek to double what they have without going through the laid down procedures, without going through well structured procedures, end up losing everything that they have toiled for within a twinkle of an eye. Shortcut is a great threat to building a sustainable financial career. That is why anyone who indulge in that act, that is shortcut, ends up becoming poverty. It can bring you from grace to grass. It can send you straight away to your grave. We have a lot of people who have become victims of shortcuts, and their stories are very, 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 heartbreaking. Their stories are very heartbreaking, and people normally become victims to shortcuts due to lack of planning, due to lack of confidence. Some people don't even have confidence in themselves that if they have to do it the long way, maybe they may not succeed. So they turn or they resort to the shortcut and they end up losing it all. So people have become victims due to these circumstances. People are not patient enough to go through the laid down procedures. So I have a content that I have shared on this platform that it is titled Sticking to the Working Procedure. Sticking to the working procedure or the working process. A lot of people are in a haste. A lot of people are in a rush, and so they find it difficult sticking to a working process People believe that success can be achieved overnight, and that is when they end up losing everything that they have toiled for. No one indulge in, shortcuts expecting to lose, but that is what the reality would be at the end of the day. So, if you are someone who desires to build a sustainable financial career, make sure that you do due diligence to yourself. Make sure you have goals set smart goals, and break those goals into short term, medium terms, and long terms. Bill Gates said something. He said that a lot of people exaggerate what they can achieve within a year and underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years. And that is true. Sometimes, if you are to set short term goals, we make mention of big things so that if we are not able to achieve it, we think then we can't do anything else. And that is where we resort into this gambling shortcut, wanting to double up the finance, wanting to double up the little that we have acquired within a short time, and it doesn't work for us. So if you know of anyone who has become successful, you can be sure that the person was very patient. Yes, because patience is virtue, and if you're not patient to build, if you're not patient to start, if you're not patient to work things out, it will be very difficult for you to be successful with shortcut. So make sure that you stay away from shortcut, because even in the Bible, Proverbs chapter 21 verse 5, the Bible says that the plan of the diligent leads to profit, and anyone who is hasty end up in poverty. And that is true. There are a lot of people that you see today and they are struggling with poverty, not because they have not had money before. They had money, but they wanted to double it, get rich quick, and they ended up losing everything from grace to grass. So make sure that you don't become a victim of that circumstance, except for that you don't want to build a long-lasting financial career. But if you want to do that, then try at all cost to do away with shortcuts, because at the end of the day, your patience will pay. If you will be patient enough to work things through, at the end of the day, you would reap it, because there is no shortcut to greatness. If I must remind you, there is no shortcut to greatness, and anything worthwhile takes time. So I need you to be patient with what you've started. I need you to get away, from that mindset of get rich quick. Do away with that mindset and trust the process, because it is the process that will make your dream a reality. So do away with those shortcuts, and trust me, you would be building a formidable and a sustainable financial career. Point number 2, the second mistake you should always do away with is creating false impressions. Creating false impressions. A lot of people, by virtue of how we carry ourselves about, by virtue of the lifestyle you live, you portray that you are okay, and in reality you're not okay. So a lot of people do not think you need help. There is time and season for everything. You see, one distinction between the rich and the poor, as well as the middle class, is that the middle class and the poor, buys luxury first. But the rich, what they do is that they buy luxury last. It is good to create impression, as a matter of fact, but how costly is that impression? And how true is that impression? The kind of impression you are creating, the kind of life you are portraying, makes it look as if that is a lifestyle you have reached. But in reality, it is all a borrowed lifestyle. And at the end of the day, people would not think you need help, but in reality, you may be in lack. So be mindful of the kind of impressions that you create, how you carry yourself about, how you spend just to impress people. Don't be making that mistake. Don't be under the pressure of, friends, just to live a bold lifestyle. Be true to yourself. Be diligent to yourself, so that people would genuinely know what you're worth and what you need, so that someone can come into your aid. For all you know, someone was hoping he could help you, But the person realized that no, the kind of lifestyle you're living doesn't depict someone who needs help. So that person has packed up and you are suffering in your closet. So be mindful of the impressions you create. You are not obliged to, impress people falsely. Be true to yourself. Because if you live the lifestyle you are supposed to live tomorrow, today, then nature would bring that lifestyle you were supposed to live today to you tomorrow, and it will be very difficult for you to be happy in life because you believe in a fake life. You believe in a life that does not represent or that does not depict the true nature of you. So make sure that if you want to build a sustainable financial career, don't try to impress people because most of the impressions are costly if they are not genuine. The best impression that I can recommend for you is to be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself and be truthful to yourself so that whatever it is that you are doing would be a true reflection of what you have and what you have acquired. Because wealth is not what you spend, wealth is not what you spend. Wealth is what you accumulate. So if you think by virtue of you living a luxurious lifestyle, people would think you are rich, people would think you've made it in life, then you're making a mistake. Because at the end of the day, it is not just what you wear, but what you have, what you've accumulated. That is what makes people know your real value. Your real value does not lie in the impressions you create out there. So don't be a victim of pressure, to live a fake life, to live a life that you have not reached. Okay, so that is that, creating false impression. The third mistake that you need to be careful about is impulse buying. Impulse buying. Impulse buying is making a purchase of something that you have no prior intention of. Okay, if you want to be very successful in terms of finances, you need to learn how to control your spending habits. A lot of the purchase, a lot of the things we buy, a lot of the purchase decisions that we make is out of emotions. People, purchase out of emotions. And there is this powerful saying that if you can't control your emotion, you can't control your money. And that is true. Sometimes you buy certain things that you later realize that you didn't need them. But hold and behold, you've already bought it. And it is because you had not planned not to buy that thing. So make sure that you desist from, impulse buying, because impulse buying can beat your expenditure, it can raise your expenditure, and it can really sink your savings. It is very important. Don't buy because you have the means, buy because you have a need for that thing. So be very careful about impulse buying because it will drain your account, and you might think you have the means, but at the end of the day, you may not have the need for that thing you have bought, and it will become, just a normal garbage. It will become rubbish at the end of the day. So make sure that you also have your emotions under control so that you don't buy anything that comes your way. As a matter of fact, if you don't have a clear idea of what you want, anything at all interests you, you get to the mall and you start buying things. Hey, I think I need this, I need that. They see something and emotionally they get attracted to, they feel like they have to buy it. They feel, if you are to rely on your feelings, trust me, you buy a whole lot of shit. So most of the things that some people buy and they bring home and they realize that they didn't even need it. Okay, so that is an issue of impulse buying. Before you get to the mall, before you step out, before you go into the market, make sure that you have in mind and sometimes written exactly what you're going to buy, because there are always a lot of things in the market that you would need, that they are pleasing in the eye. You feel like, if I get this, it would be nice to have this in the house, to have it in the bedroom, to have it in the hall, to for the kids to play, with. And that is a mistake that, if you are not careful, it will sink your account balance. So make sure that if you aspire to have your finances under control, you will also learn to control your emotions. Else, you will end up buying so many things that you would later realize that you could have waited. You could have even there was an alternative. There is something that you could have used the money for. So that is mistake number three: impulse buying. Now, there are other three that I want us to walk through quickly. But then before that, make sure that if you haven't subscribed already, you subscribe, and also you share your comment in the comment section so that others can also learn from you as well as myself. So let us quickly move to mistake number four. Mistake number four is very serious. It can endanger your generation as well. And that is what I call excessive borrowing. Excessive borrowing, that is mistake number four. See, sometimes we go through certain stages in life, we go through some financial difficulties that we are left with no option than to go for borrowing, to go for loans, to go to some money laundering people to get some money to take care of some things. Now, I am not saying that borrowing is an issue, but I'm talking about its excessiveness. Its excessiveness, because a lot of hard-earned properties have been seized by money lenders and some financial institutions because of defaulters' inability to defray or to settle that debt within the terms and conditions given. Borrowing can be very good source of wealth creation, because I've read from a lot of great men and realized that a substantial amount of their wealth were acquired as a result of well-structured borrowing. Get it? Well-structured borrowing system. Sometimes people borrow without even knowing exactly how they are going to use the money for. People borrow before they tend to think about how to use that money. But trust me, if you borrow without certainty, you would end up paying with depression. Yes. So make sure that when you have need for something, make sure that in your time of need, make sure that during your time of financial crisis, if you are thinking about borrowing, make sure that you assess your needs. Ask yourself exactly what that money will be used for. If it is not worth it, please hold on, because a delayed borrowing decision can lead you on to a lot of alternatives. There are people who were in a haste to borrow because the idea came, and the time they realized they had spent the money and they are in trouble, because they realized that at the time they borrowed the money, they didn't need to have done that. Okay, so make sure that you are not in a haste to borrow, because you borrow with time, you borrow with principal, you are paying some interest over a stipulated period of time. So make sure that before you borrow any money, you know exactly what you're going to use that money for. And also see to it that you don't borrow to spend. You don't borrow to take care of, some regular, expenditures. No. Make sure that you borrow for a genuine purpose. Make sure that you borrow for business. Make sure that you borrow and you use the money wisely, such that when the time is due, you would be able to pay back that money so that your properties will not be seized. You remember I said that it is something that can endanger your generation. Yes, you can borrow something today, use your house as a collateral, and before you realize, your family is homeless. So before you go in for any money in a form of loan, make sure that you assess critically what you're going to use that money for, and be sure of yourself that you can meet the terms and conditions given. The terms and conditions attached to it, because it is very important. In as much as you need money, make sure that you assess your needs. Ask yourself how critical they are before you take that final step. So that is that number four. Excessive borrowing. Make sure that you borrow what you can pay. Make sure that you borrow for genuine purpose. Make sure that you borrow and pay back within the constraints or within the terms and conditions given, because a lot of people are depressed, a lot of people are homeless, a lot of people are on the run. They have become refugees. Let me put it that way. because of something they borrowed some time ago and they couldn't replace it, they couldn't take it back, they couldn't indemnify what they borrowed, and at the end of the day, they have become refugees, they have become homeless, and they have put a lot of lives in danger. So make sure you don't become a victim of excessive borrowing. You are good to go to borrow, but make sure that you borrow with certainty. Make sure that you borrow what you can pay. Make sure that you don't endanger the lives of your generation. So that is mistake number 4. Now, the 5th mistake that you should also do away with if you aspire to build a sustainable financial career is blind investment. Blind investment. A lot of people have become victims of blind investment due to shortcuts, like I mentioned shortcuts earlier. So all these mistakes are linked to the other. Blind investment. As a matter of fact, as a young entrepreneur, I've learned to invest time before money. And I would recommend that you do that. Before you invest your money in anything, make sure that you first of all invest your time. Make sure that you invest your time to find out exactly what you're going to. A lot of people invest without even knowing the pros and cons in that kind of business they are venturing to. A lot of people invest without having enough information, without having enough knowledge about the field they are investing, and it has cost a lot of lives. Never be lured by the promises, by the commissions, by the profits, by the interest that a lot of businesses actually promises. Make sure that you make due diligence. Do not invest in anything without investing your time first. You invest your time by making inquiries. You invest your time by finding out more. You invest your time by learning. Learn about what you are investing your money into before you finally push that money to. Blind investment is as dangerous as shortcuts. And a lot of people who become victims of blind investment is as a result of shortcuts. They want to achieve more, they want to achieve much, and so these Ponzi schemes, these scammers, they promise you huge benefits, and so you are moved because you see that if I do this, I'm gonna get this amount of profit. I'm gonna get this amount of returns back within a short period of time. So you don't even invest time, you just invest your money, and that is a costly mistake that you should be very mindful of. In as much as you strive, or in as much as you aspire to build a sustainable financial career. Because if you invest blindly, you can lose everything. The little that you have toiled for, you can lose it within a twinkle of an eye. Blind investment is as dangerous as driving on a highway without observing the road signs. So make sure that before you put your money in everything, put your money in anything, no matter how small that money is. Because if you're not able to invest time before you invest small money, you might end up investing big money without still investing time first. So no amount is too small to be spent anyhow. No amount is too small to be invested in any scamming or Ponzi scheme. So be very careful. Be very careful about how you go about your investment. So that is mistake number 5. Desist from blind investment. Now, the 6th mistake that I want to share with you, who has been able to stick to this video, who has been able to stick with me to this very end, is amazing. And it is a common mistake that almost everyone is making, except few. People who realize this mistake at the infant stage end up saving a lot of money. And that mistake is living a life without budget. Mistake number 6, living without budget. Let me ask you, do you have a personal budget? Be it that weekly, daily, monthly, or annual budget? Do you have anything like that? I would like to read that in the comment section because I'm very passionate about this mistake. It is a mistake that a lot of people do, a lot of people continue to make without realizing, and it is sinking a lot of saving accounts. Mistake number 6, living without a budget. When you talk about budgets, people tend to, relate it to business, like business budgets, budget for organizations, budget for institutions, and what have you. Those institutions have continued to run because of their budget. So if you also want to continue to sustain financially, then do not be deceived that you don't need a budget. You need a budget. Your budget will help you to ascertain your needs. Your budget will help you to track every penny. It will help you to allocate what amount needs to be spent on what. So the question once again, do you have a budget for your family? Do you have a budget for your kids? Do you have a budget for your home? Do you have a budget for yourself? If no, then start right from today and have a budget for yourself. Because if you don't start taking care of the little that you have, you will not be able to manage when you have more. Yes. So a lot of people are waiting to get rich before they start taking care of their money. And it is synonymous to waiting to get married before you start dating. They are the same mistakes. It is a very huge mistake that a lot of people are doing. They don't have any budget in their house. You don't have any budget, and you spend every day. So how are you able to track your spendings? How are you able to identify how you spent in the month? If you are not able to budget your finances, it will be very difficult for you to control your spending habit, because it is your budget that will guide you. The budget will set as a cap. Your budget will tell you that you can't buy this because you didn't budget for that. Your budget will prompt you that you are exceeding what you are supposed to spend for the day, what you are supposed to spend for the week, what you are supposed to spend in a week, the month, and as a matter of fact, this year. So get yourself a budget. No matter how small the amount is, it needs to be allocated. No matter how huge that amount is, they need to be traced. No amount is too small to be spent anyhow. Trust me that if you start to have a personal budget for yourself, you would end up being very, very sensitive to the things you spend money on. Let's take the businesses for instance. Those businesses are flourishing because they are being guided, they are being controlled by their budget, and they don't go beyond the budget except in a critical moment. And even with that, they make provisions for you. Understand? So sometimes when you go to a certain organizations, companies, businesses, for if you write to them for sponsorship and they have actually exhausted their budget, they will tell you they will not be able to help you. You know why? Not because they don't have the money. They have the money, but what they allocated to be spent within that time has been exhausted. And trust me, they won't go beyond it. They won't go beyond it. That is what you and I should also learn to practice. Practice planning, practice having a budget for yourself, and it will save you a tons of money. Thank you so much for being patient with me to learn these 6 mistakes. The mistake number 1 is shortcut. Mistake number 2 is false impression. Mistake number 3 is impulse buying. Mistake number 4 is excessive borrowing. Mistake number 5 is blind investment. And mistake number 6 is living without budget. Make sure that you examine these mistakes, examine your life, sit back and see where you fall short. Work at it, and trust me, you will have your finances under control, and you will see that your savings would begin to rise. Thank you so much for being my guest. This is Self-Awareness Tips for Success, proudly brought to you from the corridors of Financial Freedom Community. And me being your host, my name is Richard Amponsah. Subscribe, share your comment, share this video with others, and stay connected for more. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you at the top. Bye.